I thought I was married to the woman of my dreams. But one day I found a receipt for 2 wedding ribbons that said, Mr. and Mrs. Brown, in her car. My last name wasn't there. She thought she could fool me, but I made her destroy her own life with her own hands. I met Emily at a coffee shop in downtown Portland 5 years ago. It was one of those chance encounters. I spilled coffee on her white blouse, and instead of getting angry, she laughed. Something about her laugh captivated me. It was melodic, genuine, the kind that made her eyes crinkle at the corners. By the time I finished apologizing and buying her a replacement drink, I knew I wanted to see her again. 3 months later, we were inseparable. 6 months after that, I proposed at the same coffee shop where we first met. Emily cried happy tears and said yes without hesitation. Our wedding was small but perfect, a garden ceremony with close friends and family. When we exchanged vows, I truly believed we would be together forever. The first few years of marriage were everything I had dreamed of. Emily was supportive when I pursued a promotion at my engineering firm. I cheered her on through her advancement at the marketing agency where she worked. We bought a small house in the suburbs, talked about having children someday, and spent weekends hiking in the Columbia River Gorge. I thought we were happy. I really did. Looking back, I can pinpoint when things started to change. It was subtle at first, so subtle that I dismissed the warning signs as products of my imagination. Emily began staying late at work more frequently. Big client, she would explain with a tired smile when she came home at 9 or 10 at night. I believed her because I wanted to. Her marketing firm had landed several new accounts, and I knew how competitive the industry could be. Then came the girls' nights that seemed to multiply on her calendar. Once a month became once a week, sometimes twice. When I asked about her friends, women she claimed to have known for years, she would offer vague details that never quite added up. "How's Jessica doing?" I'd ask, remembering a name she'd mentioned. "Oh, she's fine." Still dealing with that situation at work, Emily would reply, never elaborating, quickly changing the subject. Her phone became a fortress. She changed her password and would step out of the room to take calls. If I walked into a room while she was texting, she would quickly lock her screen. When I questioned these behaviors, her explanations always sounded reasonable on the surface. "Client confidentiality," she'd say with a shrug. "You know how it is." I did know how it was. My job involved confidential projects too. But something in her eyes, a flicker of calculation, perhaps, left me uneasy. Our intimacy began to wane. Not just physically, though that was part of it, but emotionally as well. Conversations became superficial. When I tried to dig deeper or express concern about the growing distance between us, Emily would accuse me of being paranoid or insecure. "You're imagining things," became her favorite phrase. Everything is fine. But everything wasn't fine. I felt it in my gut, in the hollow space that was forming between us. Still, I didn't want to believe the worst. I told myself that all marriages go through phases, that we would find our way back to each other. Then came the day that changed everything. Emily's car had been making a strange noise for weeks. I finally convinced her to take it to our regular mechanic. When she mentioned having a busy day at work, I offered to pick it up for her after the service was complete. The mechanic had found the issue, something minor with the serpentine belt, and fixed it quickly. As I settled into the driver's seat to head home, I realized I needed the insurance card for some paperwork. Emily kept it in the glove compartment, so I reached over and popped it open. The compartment was a mess of receipts, napkins, and old registration papers. As I shuffled through looking for the insurance card, a receipt caught my eye. It wasn't the amount that drew my attention, though $78.50 seemed steep, but the description: 2 custom wedding ribbons, Mr. and Mrs. Brown. I stared at those words, reading them over and over, my brain refusing to process what they meant. My last name is Williams. Not Brown. Never Brown. The receipt was dated just 3 weeks earlier. The shop was in Vancouver, Washington, just across the Columbia River, about 30 minutes from our home. I sat there in the parking lot, a cold numbness spreading through my body as the implications began to sink in. With trembling hands, I took out my phone and snapped a photo of the receipt, then carefully placed everything back exactly as I had found it. On the drive home, my mind raced through possibilities, searching for innocent explanations. Maybe it was for a friend's wedding. But why would Emily be buying ribbons for someone else's wedding? And why hide the receipt? When I got home, Emily was already there, working on her laptop at the kitchen table. "Car's all fixed," I said, trying to keep my voice casual as I handed her the keys. "Just needed a new belt." "Great, thanks," she replied without looking up. "How much was it?" "Less than they quoted." I left the receipt on the counter. I watched her face carefully, looking for any sign of concern, any flicker of guilt. Nothing. Either she was innocent of whatever I was imagining, or she was a better actress than I had realized. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake beside her, listening to her even breathing, wondering if everything I thought I knew about our life together was a lie. The next morning, I made a decision. Before jumping to conclusions, I needed more information. If Emily was hiding something, I would find out what it was. If my suspicions were unfounded, I could put them to rest and work on rebuilding the trust that had eroded between us. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I felt I had no choice. I installed a GPS tracker on her car and downloaded recovery software that would allow me to see deleted texts on our shared cloud account. Part of me felt sick at the invasion of privacy, but another part, the part that had seen that wedding ribbon receipt, felt justified. For the next week, I lived a double life. On the surface, I was the same devoted husband I had always been. Underneath, I was a private investigator in my own marriage, piecing together the fragments of my wife's secret life. The GPS data revealed a pattern. On days when Emily claimed to be working late or having drinks with girlfriends, her car would travel to an address in Vancouver, a residential neighborhood about 40 minutes from our home. She would spend hours there, sometimes not leaving until well after midnight. Meanwhile, recovered text messages painted a clear picture. There were hundreds of exchanges with someone saved in her phone as D. The messages ranged from mundane daily check-ins to explicit declarations of love and detailed plans for their future together. "Miss you already," one message from D read. "Can't wait until we don't have to hide anymore." Emily's response, "Soon, baby. Just a few more months and we'll have enough saved. I love you so much it hurts." Each discovery was a fresh wound. But the final piece fell into place when I drove past the address in Vancouver. It was a well-maintained bungalow with a manicured lawn and a silver Audi in the driveway. A quick property record search revealed the owner, Daniel Brown. I sat in my car a block away, watching as Emily's car pulled into the driveway one Tuesday evening when she had told me she was attending a marketing seminar. I watched as she walked to the front door with the comfortable familiarity of someone coming home. I watched as a tall man with dark hair opened the door, pulled her into an embrace, and kissed her deeply before they disappeared inside. My Emily. My wife. Living a second life with another man. That night, I dug deeper. Social media searches for Daniel Brown revealed a successful real estate agent in his mid-30s. His profile didn't show any connection to Emily, but there were gaps in his photo timeline that suggested deleted content. Bank statements showed regular withdrawals from our joint account, money that Emily had said was going into a special savings account for our future. More than $30,000 over the past year, drained away to fund her other life. The more I discovered, the calmer I became. The initial shock and hurt crystallized into something harder, colder. I wasn't just going to confront her and watch her lie her way out of it. I wasn't going to simply file for divorce and walk away. No, Emily deserved something more memorable. I spent another week planning, gathering more evidence, learning everything I could about Daniel Brown. I discovered he was divorced, had no children, and had met Emily at a marketing event for real estate professionals about 18 months ago. I found photos of them together at a restaurant opening in Vancouver, her hand casually resting on his arm, both of them smiling as if they didn't have a care in the world. I learned that they had planned a small wedding ceremony for the following month, renewal of vows, as she had apparently told him, claiming her first marriage had ended years ago. The venue was booked, deposits paid, invitations sent to his family and friends. Through social media, I managed to find Daniel Brown and send him a friend request from my account, which didn't use my full name or any photos that would immediately connect me to Emily. To my surprise, he accepted within hours. His profile gave me more insight. He seemed like a decent guy who enjoyed hiking, craft beer, and his German shepherd named Max. In another life, we might have been friends. In this one, he was unknowingly complicit in the destruction of my marriage. Our 5th wedding anniversary was approaching. Normally, we would have planned a weekend getaway or at least a nice dinner to celebrate. This year, Emily had been suspiciously quiet about the date, claiming work stress had prevented her from making plans. Now I understood why. I made a reservation at Riverside, the most exclusive restaurant in Portland, a place we had gone to celebrate special occasions in the past. When I told Emily about it, presenting it as a surprise, she looked momentarily panicked before composing her features into a smile. That's so sweet," she said, eyes darting to her phone as if calculating how to handle this disruption to her real plans. "But are you sure we can afford it right now? With the house repairs coming up." "It's our anniversary," I replied with a smile I didn't feel. "We deserve to celebrate." She reluctantly agreed, and I watched as she stepped out onto the porch to make a phone call, no doubt to Daniel, explaining the change in whatever plans they had made. The day before our anniversary dinner, I sent Daniel a message through social media. "Hey man, I've noticed your amazing real estate work. My wife and I are thinking about upgrading, and I'd love to pick your brain. Would you be available to meet at Riverside tomorrow at 7? I've already got a reservation and would be happy to treat you to dinner while we chat." His response came quickly, "That sounds great. I'd be happy to discuss the market with you. Riverside is one of my favorites, great choice. See you at 7. The pieces were in place. All that remained was to watch them fall. On our anniversary, Emily spent extra time getting ready, selecting a new dress I had never seen before, black, elegant, revealing in a tasteful way. She seemed nervous, checking her phone frequently as we drove to the restaurant. "Everything okay?" I asked innocently. "Yes, just some work emails," she replied, the lie coming easily to her lips. When we arrived at Riverside, I gave my name to the host, who smiled knowingly. I had explained the situation when making the reservation, ensuring we would have a private table in the corner with a good view of the entrance. "Your table is ready, and your guest has already arrived," the host said with a discreet nod. Emily frowned slightly. "Guest? What guest?" I took her hand, feeling how cold her fingers had become. "Just a little surprise," I said, allowing the host to lead us to our table. As we rounded the corner, I felt Emily stiffen. There, already seated at our table, was Daniel Brown. He looked up with a friendly smile that quickly froze as his eyes locked on Emily. The color drained from his face. "Surprise," I said quietly as Emily's hand slipped from mine. "Emily." Daniel stood halfway, confusion etched across his features. "What are you doing here? Do you two know each other?" Emily's mouth opened and closed, no sound emerging. Her face had gone ghostly white. "Daniel, I'm so glad you could join us," I said calmly, pulling out Emily's chair. "Please, sit down. Both of you." Emily remained standing, her panicked eyes darting between Daniel and me, fight or flight visibly battling across her face. What is this?" she finally managed. "This," I said, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside, is our anniversary dinner. 5 years today, isn't that right, Emily? Daniel's confusion deepened. Anniversary? But you said you were divorced years ago. You said. Please, sit down, I repeated, more firmly this time. We have a lot to discuss. Slowly, robotically, Emily sank into her chair. Daniel followed suit, his bewildered gaze never leaving her face. I sat between them and calmly placed a folder on the table. I thought we should all get on the same page before moving forward. Rick, please, Emily whispered, her first attempt at damage control. This isn't what it looks like. I can explain. I'm sure you can, I cut her off smoothly. You've been explaining things very creatively for quite some time now. But tonight, I thought we'd try something different. Tonight, we'll deal in facts. I opened the folder and began laying out documents one by one. Bank statements showing withdrawals. Screenshots of text messages. Photos of Emily entering Daniel's house. The receipt for wedding ribbons. What is all this? Daniel asked, his voice strained as he began to comprehend what he was seeing. This, I said quietly, is the evidence of a double life. Emily isn't divorced. She's very much married, to me. Those withdrawals. That's our money, money we saved together for our future, being funneled into your wedding. Those texts. Sent while she was lying beside me in our bed. Daniel stared at the evidence, his expression shifting from confusion to shock to anger. Is this true? He demanded, turning to Emily. Have you been lying to me this whole time? Emily's shock had given way to desperation. Daniel, please, it's complicated. I was going to tell you. When? I interjected. After the wedding? After you had legally committed bigamy? Or were you planning to divorce me first without my knowledge? Tears began streaming down Emily's face. Not tears of remorse, I noted, but tears of someone caught in a trap of their own making. How long have you known? She asked me, her voice barely audible. Long enough, I replied. Long enough to see how methodically you've been stealing from me, not just money, but time, trust, and dignity. Daniel was now examining the bank statements more closely. These withdrawals, he said slowly, they match the deposits you've been making into our joint account. The account for our future home. He looked up at her, betrayal written across his face. You told me that was money you'd saved from your divorce settlement. There was no divorce settlement, I said quietly. Just systematic theft from our marital finances. Emily's breathing had become rapid, panicked. I can fix this, she said, looking between us. I can make this right. Just let me explain. There's nothing to explain, Daniel cut her off, his voice hardening. You've been living a lie. Our entire relationship is built on lies. He turned to me, his expression a mixture of anger and embarrassment. I swear to you, I had no idea she was married. She told me she had been divorced for years. I believe you, I said simply. You're as much a victim in this as I am. Emily made one last desperate attempt. Rick, please. We can work through this. Couples therapy. I laughed, the sound harsh even to my own ears. Couples therapy. For pathological dishonesty and financial fraud? I don't think so. I stood up, buttoning my jacket. I've already spoken with a divorce attorney. You'll be receiving papers tomorrow. The bank accounts are frozen as of this afternoon. Oh, and I've taken the liberty of canceling those wedding vendors you booked. They were quite understanding when I explained the situation. Daniel also rose to his feet. I need to go, he said, not looking at Emily. Don't contact me again. Ever. Emily remained seated, tears streaming down her face, the carefully constructed dual life she had built crumbling around her. Enjoy your dinner, I said, placing enough cash on the table to cover the meal I had no intention of eating. Consider it my final gift as your husband. As I walked away, I heard her call my name one last time, her voice breaking. I didn't turn around. 5 years of lies didn't deserve a final glance. Outside in the cool evening air, I took a deep breath, feeling a strange mixture of pain and liberation. Daniel emerged from the restaurant a moment later, looking shell-shocked. "I'm sorry," he said when he saw me. "I truly had no idea." "I know," I replied. "She fooled us both." We stood in awkward silence for a moment, two strangers united by betrayal. "What now?" he asked finally. I shrugged. "Now we rebuild. Separately." We parted without another word, each heading toward a future neither of us had planned for. The divorce proceedings moved quickly. Emily didn't contest anything, perhaps realizing she had no ground to stand on. I heard through mutual friends that she had moved out of state, starting over somewhere new. Daniel sold his house in Vancouver and relocated to Seattle. As for me, I stayed in Portland, in the house that had once been ours. I repainted the walls, replaced the furniture, erased all physical traces of Emily. But memories aren't so easily erased. Sometimes at night, I still wonder if I could have seen the signs earlier, if there was a moment when intervention might have changed our path. Other times, I wonder if the woman I fell in love with ever truly existed, or if she was just another carefully crafted facade. People ask if I regret exposing her the way I did, orchestrating that confrontation at the restaurant. They wonder if a private disclosure might have been more dignified. Perhaps. But dignity wasn't what I was after that night. The truth is, revenge doesn't heal the wounds of betrayal. It doesn't fill the empty spaces or rebuild broken trust. But it does provide a certain clarity, a definitive ending to a story that never should have been written. I'm starting over now, cautiously stepping back into the world of dating, carrying the scars of experience. I'm more careful, more observant, perhaps more cynical. But I refuse to let Emily's betrayal define me or determine my capacity for trust in the future. After all, not every story has to end the same way. Some endings are just new beginnings in disguise.